Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Read Fallout Equestria, Chapter 17, Part 2. Woo! Just got up, just ate breakfast, so let's go.
This I already knew, thanks to the Wasteland Survival Guide, so I was only half listening. I had to admit, despite Monterey Jack and the stupidity of my friends, this had been one of the better days of my life. But it was beginning to get late, and my anger towards Velvet and Calamity, while still very present, had dulled around the edges. It was time to return to them. Taint, on the other hoof, is a zebra of very different stripes. No pony knows exactly what the taint is, or where it comes from, but we know its mutative effects on monsters and the fatally malignant repercussions on ponies. Remember, folks, taint don't care what you're wearing. No protective suits keep it out, and there's no cure. Only way to safely tell if a place is tainted is by reputation. Discover one by any other means, and it's probably too late. Sounded to me like the best way to hide something was to stick it in the cave and hang a sign saying, "Danger, taint outside." And in the news, one of the smaller settlements in the Manhattan ruins, Gutterville, has gone silent. If any pony's traveling through that way, please pop a head in and see what's going on. Then let your old pal DJ Pony know. Eventually, DJ Pony wrapped up with the news and a special announcement. Now, I know what all you're actually wondering. What about the equestrian heroine from Stable 2? What's she up to? I winced, giving Homage a pleading look. But asking her to tone it down while she was busy being DJ Pony was like asking Steelhose to take off his armor. It just wasn't going to happen. Well, I've got incredible news. The Stable Dweller loves you. That's right, all of you. And you know how I know? I was cringing now. Because she sent a little toaster repair pony to me with a special delivery. Starting tomorrow, there'll be some new songs added to our broadcast, so keep yourselves tuned in, faithful listeners, because you don't want to be the last pony around to have heard the discs I'll be spinning for you tomorrow. And now, once again, it's Sapphire Shores, singing that the sun can't hide forever. The glow of DJ Pony's horn faded, and once again I was in the room with Homage. Laying it on a little thick, aren't you? Homage smiled brightly.
That's
Just
so
telling
business.
the truth like I always do. I laughed. Well, except the whole secret identity gimmick. Homage fixed me with a serious look. Do you think the stuck-up ponies of Ten Pony Tower like the idea of having a ghoul sympathizer living in their tower? Much less broadcasting from it. If they knew who I was, then I wouldn't have the freedom to tell it like it is. In fact, they'd probably ban me from the tower altogether. Sometimes, she said, being honest means knowing when not to be. There were two things left that I wanted to ask Homage, and only one of which I would bring myself to voice.
Exactly,
So,
I
when we
agree with
returned
her.
from the broadcast station, I finally brought it up. This morning, you said you needed my help? Homage blushed. Well,
Little Pip's
I was
already
kind of
got
hoping
her.
you'd risk your life on an errand for me, but it's a bit ridiculous of me to ask now. I raised an eyebrow, my curiosity piqued. Go ahead. The remarkable gray unicorn with the blue mane that just kept falling in your eyes seemed to
Remarkable,
ponder
huh?
that, then shook her head. Tell me, I nudged. I'd rather not. It's silly now. Tell me, I pushed, her refusal making me even more curious. Maddeningly, she declined. I stomped a little. Tell me. Tell me, tell me, tell me.
You little child.
Homage waved a hoof. Okay. Since you really want to know. She took a deep breath, then let it all out in a rush. I want you to get some new songs for me. Specific songs. I know that Sweetie Belle was really close with the other two founders of Stabletech, one of whom was Scootaloo. And Scootaloo was also the founder of Red Racer, whose office and factory is right here in Manhattan. I came across information a few years ago that told me Scootaloo's office safe should still contain a few demos of music that never been heard before. I've been wanting to get them and listen to them ever since. But I can't because it's really, really dangerous. That place is just lousy with manticores.
Manticores.
Wow. Okay. Yes, I could definitely see why Homage was considering that a silly request.
You
considering
did
the
bring her a
reference.
whole bunch of new songs.
And she didn't even know about Velvet Remedy yet. Which reminded me that I had to return to Velvet Remedy and Calamity, the friends who had been skulking around behind my back, and tell them I had no better idea what to do next than I had before we got here. I needed a distraction, and really it was for a good cause. Not to mention, I really wanted to see Homage's face light up again. Okay, I'll do it.
Already chapter
Homage was staring at
17.
the floor, digging at it with her hoof.
Like, I knew
At my
Lil Pip
words,
was going
her
to get
head
with
shot up,
someone. I didn't think it'd
staring
be
at me in
this soon.
disbelief.
Well,
What?
getting
Why?
with.
She stammered. I considered trying to make my reasoning sound more noble, or falsifying it altogether. But a bigger part of me felt that lies had no place in DJ Pony's domain. So instead, I told her, because I have no idea what to do next, and my companions are expecting me to come up with a plan. And really, because you asked me to. Gilding my words just a little, I added, I would love to do Homage a favor. She blinked. Okay. Did you miss the part about the Manticores?
Nah,
I
it's not a
chuckled.
problem.
No, but I've gotten a few new weapons since the last time we fought one. I think we can manage. And don't worry, I added, not wanting her to feel guilty. If it looks too dangerous, we'll back out. Homage nodded firmly, accepting this,
You do got a guy in power
which
armor,
caused her hair to fall
so...
into her face again.
Are Manticores the
Okay.
death claws of this
But
world?
if you're going to do something that risky for me, you're not going to do it without a reward. And I know just the thing. I cocked my head, not
Dude,
really
sounds
looking
a
for a
fucking weirdo
reward,
right now.
and ready to decline her offer, but too curious to refuse without hearing it. I've heard that your friend Calamity's been asking around for a flux regulator. Well, I just happen to have
We're getting
one.
the ride! The battle bus!
I wasn't sure I really wanted us to have a flux regulator. The idea of traveling around in a Pegasus-pulled bomb had dubious appeal.
Fuck that, okay?
Before
Battle
returning to my
buses are
companions, I made
cool.
one other stop.
Just
I
the
suspected
name,
Velvet
the
Remedy had
battle
been less than
bus.
diligent in pursuing the situation with Monterey Jack.
And
considering
this
she'd
way,
been seeing Doc.
and this way, think about the travel time that you could get back to your home base that you spent time working on, and you installed a plasma cannon. You haven't been there for like a week, a couple weeks, several days at the very least. Like, you could get there and back pretty fast, and all that equipment you want. Oh wow, that'd be so cool. I want a battle bus. In your Lil Pip, you are getting offered the chance of retrofitting and outfitting a flying battle bus. Fuck you. Get the flux regulator. You little
It was
bastard.
about me instead. But I knew I should give her the benefit of the doubt. And from what I had learned myself, Velvet Remedy may have hit on a wall very early. On either hoof, I needed to talk to Monterey Jack myself before making further plans, especially if those plans were going to amount to leaving him to his fate. Unfortunately, the 10-pony tower constables weren't about to let a non-citizen pony like me anywhere near him. Not a problem. A blast of mint flavor later, and the world exploded with vivid lucidity.
Oh.
Talking my way past the guard bucks was easy. I was a charming, intelligent mare. Even if I had no interest in them, they had naturally been interested in me. I was even able to talk one of them into giving me his pencil and clipboard, which was great because now that my mind was free from its natural sluggishness, I was having ideas. The flux regulator was going to be an astounding benefit. After finishing up business in 10-pony tower, we could go back and fix up the Sky Bandit. Maybe take a trip back home to Junction R7 for a little equipment maintenance and
That's what,
inventory
yeah,
housekeeping.
Junction R7. We need to come
Then
up
we
with
should
better
be able to go
names.
straight to Philadelphia, bypassing all the dangers along the way. What do you want? The sour voice of Monterey Jack cut through my preoccupation with my party time enhanced brilliance. I looked up to find him standing in a bed of moldy hay at the back of an iron-barred cell. I refocused on
standing
where
on
I
it?
was and why I was here. Staring at the unpleasant beige stallion, I cut to the chase. Why in Celestia's name did you admit what you'd done? You knew you'd be jailed and probably killed for it. Monterey Jack fixed me with a cool stare. And finally, as if speaking to a child, because the Equestrian wasteland demands sacrifices. You haven't been out here long enough to get that. He looked me over. But I'm guessing you've started to. Not the innocent little filly you were just 3 weeks ago, are you? You've killed, and not just monsters. You've killed other ponies. Tell me, when you stepped out of that stable, were you a killer? I stepped back, shocked. I had no idea what this had to do with anything, but I knew what he was saying. I saw it in the way Velvet Remedy looked at me, like I was flank deep in blood. The way I saw myself in dark times and bad dreams.
Wouldn't
I know you've
flank
looted
deep
corpses.
for you guys also be
I was stealing
shoulder
from
deep?
raiders or other ponies who are so bad, and the wasteland's made so twisted and mean that it's easy to justify pretty much anything you do to them. How about stealing from those who it is harder to justify taking from? Or is it just as easy now to take from every pony? Monterey Jack's words stirred up memories of breaking into Silverbell's barn. You betrayed any pony yet? Left any pony to die just to save your own skin? Killed an innocent yet? Because it's the only way to protect you and your own? He stared at me, reading the
I don't
revulsion
think
in my
so.
eyes. No? How about lesser things? Ever just walked away? My mind flashed to the blue pony being chased down by her rapists. But that didn't count. We'd saved her life. Clam had even brought her healing potions. It wasn't as if we just left her to her fate. We helped. And then we left her. Velvet Remedy, I realized with PTM-laced insight, would never have let us walk away without seeing the girl safely home had she not been so traumatized by the sight of Calamity slaying the cult. But why didn't I insist that? What was wrong with me? Monterey Jack was waiting. The only response I managed was a nod. I wasn't nodding to any of his questions specifically, but that I followed what he was saying. Question your wasteland demands sacrifices. It makes you whittle away bits of yourself until you can't recognize yourself anymore. So you find a virtue. You find something in yourself that you believe in, that you cannot compromise. Ever. And as long as you keep that part of you, that one good thing, then you can bear to look at yourself in the mirror every morning. It becomes your anchor, the thing that lets you live with yourself. My virtue, my anchor, is that I'm an honest pony. I keep to my word. I've never cheated the customer. I do not lie. And as long as I can look at myself and know that I'm still an honest pony, then I can bear everything I've ever had to do to provide a safe place for my Phildian colts.
Yeah, but now you're...
But
You...
I stared at him,
Oh my God.
not wanting to understand. You could have said nothing. He glared. For how long? I come back, and you're all over the damn radio. My children listen every day for the news of your Celestia damned heroism. They idolize the fuck out of you, and every day I know that I've met their idol and I tried to rob her. I keep silent, but a lie of omission is still a lie, and that poison has been killing me as surely as any noose. Eyes narrowing, he leaned his muzzle against the bars as close as he could possibly get to me. Don't think I spoke up for you. I spoke up to save me, even if it kills me. I backed up. I wasn't sure if Monterey Jack was cracked, foolish, or terribly, horribly sane.
No, he's a
I turned to
fucking
go.
cracked.
As I moved out through the door, he called after me. If you haven't found your virtue yet, you best hurry up, while there's still anything left of you to save.
This is such bullshit.
I was still running on the awesomeness of party time Mintails when I finally returned to the others.
Okay,
convincing them to join me in a hunt for music
I understand the concept of it, but I kind of feel like, okay, my personal ideology and my personal beliefs says this is like virtues, okay. But I'm having this is KK, this is happening a lot in your story. I'm having trouble trying to say what I mean. I know what I mean, but I have trouble articulating it about this fucking story. Like, okay, I understand his ideology, and I understand where he's coming from, but I don't agree with it at all. Like, I think he's cracked. I really do. Like, maybe give me like a couple hours after this video I'm done recording, I might come up with an explanation for how I feel and what I think. Like, okay, virtues, yeah, I agree with that. Like, but at the same time, there's a lot of wrong with what he said. At least what I feel like there's a lot of wrong with how he's going about and how he's thinking about. How do I explain this? Well, he talks a lot about sacrifice. That actually, for a main, okay, for other people, sure, but for a main character of Fallout, you could sacrifice, or you could go balls to the wall and never compromise and still win the day. Like, that's one of the things I love about Fallout, is there's so many ways you could go about things. You could play the sacrificing or compromising hero. Or you could find a way to win. And win without compromising any of your morals. You have the option. And it's an option I always enjoy. So, that may not work for a story, like an actual written story. So, it kind of weirds me out about that whole concept in a Fallout story. But again, it's a story, not the game. Oh well, fuck it. Let's read.
Breeze. I had been concerned about confrontation, but when I arrived, Velvet Remedy was lost in the Fluttershy orb, giving me a chance to talk to the others first. Calamity was in the moment I mentioned the flux regulator. I phrased it to Velvet Remedy as a chance to impress DJ Pony and maybe get to record some of her own music. She reminded me that she was a medical pony now, not some stable songbird. But it was a half-hearted reluctance that I was able to overcome by suggesting this would allow her beautiful music to fly free. Steelhooves took no persuasion at all, neither eager nor reluctant.
God damn,
the Red Racer factory was nowhere near either the Luna or Celestial lines.
there's
So
something
within
going
half
on
an
out
hour,
there.
we were walking through the urban blight of the Manhattan ruins. The crash from the Mintows was worse than before, and the only thing that kept me from chomping another one was a promise to myself that I would the moment we got to Red Racer.
Also, just think about something. They just left that blue mare there in, like, nobody spoke up. Like, what? Yeah, like Velvet Remedy would have. So, one of the rare times I agree with her. But, like, why didn't Lil Pip speak up? I mean, they were going to 10 Pony Tower. I mean, okay, maybe, like, she doesn't live there. Very unlikely she would have, but it's still a place to go. Maybe she could have found help there. Like, why? I don't really... Okay, I understand you had your goal, but Lil Pip has been shown to be such a... Basically, a questing hero. That's what she is. She does the quests. Like, and she's just such a pure good karma hero. Like, you would expect she would offer help. Right? I mean, okay, maybe Lil Pip... Like, Velvet Remedy was that shocked from the Calamity killing the raider. I'm not even going to call him a cult. A raider. A young raider. And maybe Lil Pip was too, because... none of this is something I think Lil Pip would just offer help with. Yeah.
I couldn't fight like this, stupid and half blind. I needed that edge. And if I took another one now, I ran the risk of crashing in the middle of combat. I couldn't risk that. I dropped back to walk alongside Steelhooves, noticing how Calamity and Velvet Remedy unconsciously changed their paces to put distance between each other. I rolled my eyes. They were bad enough before. Depression was setting in, and their stupid silent fighting wasn't helping. So, why are you still with us? I asked Steelhooves in what I hoped was not a blunt or discouraging tone. You escorted us to 10 Pony Tower already. Do you want me to leave? The deep voice spoke from within the Steel Ranger's armor. I waved a hoof. No.
It's gotta be really hard to do that while walking.
I'd like to know why a pony like yourself would continue to travel with me. Maybe I have nothing better to do.
That's probably
I
true.
stared ahead, not believing that at all. Why would he lie, though? It seemed like all my companions were on the edge of turning on me. Was I being paranoid? Or was Steelhooves a threat?
Okay, see,
Buried
when
in
you
dark
say that shit,
contemplation,
you know
I
you're
didn't
being
notice that the
paranoid.
others ahead of me had stopped. I bumped into Calamity's backside, scraping his barding with my horn. Hey, why? I started to ask, annoyed, but the words fell away from my mouth as my eyes were drawn to a large poster on a freestanding, crumbling wall. The poster was of a Pegasus fully encased in sleek black armor. The armor looked fearsome, almost insectoid. The battle saddle looked like an onyx carapace with two antennae jutting out, tips crackling with magical green energy.
Actually, that's a good question to ask. I know you wrote this before you, the season 2 finale. Like, how far were you along in your story? Was it completely written out? Because I know you, at least I heard that you had completely written out the story before posting, which is a really smart thing to do. People should do that more often. But, were you in the process of writing during the season 2 finale, or had you already finished it and were now posting it? And I actually saw a blog on your idea of changelings. That picture you found was adorable. She looks so happy. What is going... It's been a while since I read that blog, and I don't want to go crawling through all your blog posts to find it. But what do you think the changelings are doing right now? I mean, they feed on love, so you expect that in the post-apocalypse they would be the premier peacekeepers, right? I mean, keeping the peace means keeping their food alive. So you'd expect you see, like, the Minutemen! The changelings could be the Boston Minutemen! Oh god, what's that? What's the equestrian version of Boston? I don't think there is one. But Las Pegasus. Let's just go with that. Oh, that would be cool. The changelings are the Minutemen. That would be awesome. They have laser
like
muskets.
Steelhooves, even the Pegasus's tail was protected by segmented armor. But, unlike the Steel Ranger armor, this tail also served as a weapon, ending in a vicious glowing spike. I felt I was seeing a nightmare version of Steel Ranger armor. Beneath the Pegasus, who hovered in an almost threatening stance, were scattered zebras, dead or fleeing. Fear not, Equestria. We will save you. Calamity finally nickered, scoffing. Yeah, that's right. One day, the Grand Pegasus Enclave will come swooping down out of the skies to rescue all your little ponies. Maybe after they're done with their naps. He leaned close and whispered loudly. Don't hold your breath. Never gonna happen. Calamity, Velvet Remedy began, seeming to forget she was mad at him. Turning away from the poster in disgust, he began trotting off. Lazy. Arrogant. It's like they took the greatest of us, stripped away everything was good and admirable, till they left us with nothing but flaws and decided, hey, let's go with that.
Like the Enclave.
I think we're being followed, Steelhooves announced as we passed through a broken courtyard.
Oh, you're always
approaching
being
a towering
followed.
building, black and half-eaten by the apocalyptic blast. I was staring at my Pitbuck's auto-mapping spell. The Red Racer factory should be directly in front of us. At the Steel Ranger's words, I turned around, eyes moving to my EFS compass, more confident in it than my own eyesight in the waning light. The courtyard was covered in wind-blown litter. Scraggly grass burst through the cracks in gray stonework. I looked out past the platform that formed the centerpiece of the courtyard, a platform that had once boasted statues of several ponies. The statues had shattered and crumbled. Now, only the hooves of the ponies remained, sticking grotesquely up from the surface of the dais. I turned, taking in a full view of our surroundings until I was looking back at Steelhooves and the inferno-torn building that towered above us. But neither I nor my eyes forward sparkle detected anything. This time. I was certain Steelhooves was right. Several times earlier I'd spotted it too, something which was probably a small miracle with how murky all my senses felt. But no, there was some pony, or something, hovering on the edge of the sparkle's ability to detect. The light on my compass labeled it as non-hostile, leaving me to wonder if it was keeping its distance out of shyness, or because it comprehended the limits of my Stable-Tech Arcano technology. As if on cue, a notice flashed across the upper edge of my eyes forward sparkle. I had discovered hoofbeats. I turned back to look at the building again, eyeing it with surprise. I knew what this skyscraper had once been. This was the Ministry of Morale's Manhattan hub. I'd seen it from the roof of Ten Pony Tower. Yet sure enough, the facade before us proclaimed itself, in sheer audacity of style as well as neon lettering, to be the center of loud, musical urban rebellion. Unlike the Ministry of Magic's local hub, the Ministry of Morale didn't announce itself with signs along the Celestial line, or even a name in small font somewhere on the wall. It was a nameless, faceless skyscraper, unassumingly monolithic from the third floor up. The first two floors, however, were dedicated to what I had already come to think of as one of Manhattan's most popular dance clubs. Remembering Velvet Remedy's passing acknowledgement that Pinkie Pie and Vinyl Scratch performed music together at Hoofbeats at least once. Even my Pitbuck didn't label it as a ministry hub, as if it was a secret, but one that every pony already knew.
So,
in its time, the Ministry of
they're kind of like the non-secret secret police. God damn it, Pinkie Pie. Just god damn it.
Magic's hub had been exactly what I expected from a ministry building, down to the insane magical defenses that protected it from the Balefire bomb. From the MOM's apparent lack of defenses to its perch atop a public party house, this was assuredly not. I walked forward, drawn into the gaping, shattered glass front of Hoofbeats.
Okay. Actually, before we go on, I have a burning need to talk about something, and it's the length of the war. The war lasted like 21 years, right? 21 years? How? This was a... Okay, it was an industrial war. You have factories, mass conscription, all industrialized, like World War One, World War Two, that shit. How the fuck did they find enough manpower to fight this war for 21 years? Like, how the fuck did they do that? Because World War One lasted 4 years, and it bled countries dry. Germany, France, Britain, Italy, Austria-Hungary, to some extent Russia. These nations, especially Germany and France, they were bled dry in just 4 years of fighting. How the fuck did Equestria and the Zebras go 21? Again, World War II, that was 40 to 45. Not even 45, barely. 4 years again. Germany, Japan, bled fucking dry. How did they find enough men, or ponies and zebras, to fight this war? Okay, they recruited from the females as well as the men. Probably also used conscription. Okay, so that might buy you like a year or two more. So that's like 7 years. They were constantly going through resources needed to wage the war, like coal, magic gems. And I will say this, after the fire gauntlet where Rarity pulled a gem out what looked like a sprout, I think gems grow in Equestria. Maybe it's the magic. Maybe the magic of the constantly used magic of unicorns and earth ponies and Pegside caused gems to grow. So let's theorize that gems are a renewable resource in Equestria from the ambient magic, because it looks like that shit grows. Coal, at the very least, no. So how they in war takes up a lot of resources, and a lot of the materials you use can't be taken back and recycled. So how did they have the resources to fight for 21 years? How did they have the manpower to fight for 21 years? How did they have the morale to fight for 21 years? Because, I mean, we say that, like, the fight could go on, but France in World War One, they were breaking at the end. They were honestly thinking of unconditional surrender, even when America joined the fight. That was just 4 years. How the hell did this... I want to see the logistics. Don't show me the battles. Show me the paperwork. Show me the logistics and the population counts. And, like, there's no way this could have gone on for that long. There's no way this could have gone on for any longer. Because this... It's impossible. It can't happen. There's nothing left to fight with. Like... Even Gears of War, and if you read the background on Gears of War, there's some horrifying shit that the humans had to do to keep waging war. That only lasted, like, I'm not even sure, like, I'm going to have to look up the Gears of War timeline. But even then, even with all the horrifying methods humanity had to do to actually survive for long, they were still losing. They were dying. They were going to lose that war. And to understand what I mean by horrifying methods, breeder camps. You heard that right. The humans in Gears of War, in order to supplement their numbers to stave off extinction, created breeder camps. They're probably just as bad as you're thinking, and they were still losing. So how the fuck did Equestria and the Zebras fight for 21 years straight? Like, the logistics must be mind-boggling, and the death totals must be horrifying. Because this was an industrial war. This, from what we know of the lore, from what I know of the lore and what I've learned and what K-Cat you've told me, this was the first real industrial war in this world. I mean, they clearly had no idea about social engineering. It sounds like they were doing big set-piece battles with industrial equipment, or weapons and equipment. It sounds like the First World War taken up to 1950s and sci-fi tech. And they got better as time went on, of course. But like 21 years, you even the most fanatical, even the most hateful of generals and politicians and populations would have to go, enough is enough. Okay, I think a good example would be the Crusades. You know, the Christians invading the Middle East and stuff. Those were on and off again. They didn't go straight 21 years. And there were like decades and a century or so of peace in between. So this shit just, it's hard to wrap my mind around this, because it's hard to think about any war lasting this long with this degree. Like, the only war I could think of is the 100 Years' War between France and England. That was medieval. Like, they weren't fighting all the time. It's kind of hard to get armies around. So that's understandable to a degree because of the era and equipment used. But an industrial war for that long, it's not that I can't see it. Well, okay, I can't. It's really hard for me to see it. But I want to know the logistics and background of it. And that's over 30 minutes. I got to cut in this before it becomes too long. All right, bye.